So I think that we really just want to focus on like saying like, so if you do respect and know what veterans have done, do the honorable thing by doing the right thing. That means being civically engaged. That means, taking care of your communities. That means doing what you need to do, finding your role within your community, essentially.
Welcome back. This is the Foolish Optimist Podcast. If you're new here, we are on the hunt for the next generation of leaders in the United States. If you haven't yet subscribed, wherever you're listening, that would be really great. You could do that. And if you're feeling super, super magnanimous today, you could review it. And that's also a huge help for us. Now on to the fun part. We are in our special series of non-candidate interviews, and I'm really, really excited to announce our two guests. I'm really excited to introduce our two guests today. They are both from the Fight Against Fascism Organization. Jasmine Johnson's the executive director and co-founder, which she helped build alongside her partner, Thomas Siddell, a disabled combat veteran, and a small but mighty crew of organizers and community members. A civilian rooted in a family of educators, she leads with purpose, rejecting passive action in favor of bold, community-driven work that uplifts the voices most often left out of critical conversations. Since organizing FAFO's first rally in Washington, D.C., Jasmine has guided the organization's growth into a veteran-led, people-powered movement, driving initiatives from school supply drives to mutual aid networks, community defense trainings, and high visibility direct actions. And our second guest is Amanda Reed. Amanda is the regional lead for FAFO South. She's chronically ill and disabled, but a veteran. So here she is. She's fighting fascism with grit and a dash of sweet tea and sass. Thanks for being here.
Not a problem. Thank you for having us.
This is a special edition since you're my first group of three people, or recording with three people. But maybe we could start with how FAFO started and how you two ended up connected and building out the network.
Yeah.
That was an interesting day for me.
So FAFO as a whole, I had to take it back. So it really would have to be my partner's idea. So my partner is a dreamer. He just thinks big. He's always there. And I'm more of a realist. So I'm like okay, that sounds great and all, but like, how do you do that? Let's talk about that. So he came to me with ideas of wanting to do more and getting back out there. And I was like, well, that's great, babe. And then one day we were sitting in the car and he was very upset by this administration's lack of, moral integrity when it came to veterans, how they were looking to take away, honorable, just literally their honorable mentions in existence from textbooks, museums, and Arlington Cemetery. And he was like, that's it. I'm putting my foot down. We need to do something. So I said to him, okay, you use the word we. We're speaking a lot of French right now. That's a joke. We say that a lot. But I said to him, my concern is that you'll have all these, you have the big idea, but I'm the one who does all the little baby steps, right? I'm the analytical brain. My background's in marketing. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm willing to help, but I'm not going to carry this. That was my biggest thing, is like, I have enough on my plate.
Right.
And so I said, if you can bring back some people who can really help us, let's get it done. And boy, did he ever do that. So I would say our biggest backer who really got us on the catalyst would be, her name is Liz Mkhitaryan. She is the founder of Stop Moms for Liberty. She hails out of Brevard County, Florida. So if you haven't heard of her or haven't spoken to her, I'm happy to make the connection and introduction, because she's a lovely lady. She is a retired educator who has been fighting back against book bans and, government overreach, especially when it comes to educating children and giving them the ability to understand free expression and have freedom of thought. So she just really helped us bring our first event into fruition. So we had our first event on April 30th and on the National Mall. It was called Rally Against Fascism, honoring and preserving our military history. So emphasis on ours, because we're claiming it. We were able to have people like Harry Dunn speak, who is a former Capitol Police officer who survived the January 6th riots. We had Herman Cole speak, who is a Tuskegee Airman. He talked about the legacy of Tuskegee Airmen. We also had David Inouye, who spoke about the 442, which is the most decorated regiment in U.S. history and also is the all-Japanese regiment from World War II. When we talked about that in position to their family members being locked away in internment camps and kind of looked at the parallels to today, 2025, right? So that event was right there in front of the Capitol. It was beautiful. You can actually go to our website and rewatch a YouTube stream if anybody's ever interested. Remind me to plug everything at the end so I don't have to do it every time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, that was it. And we have not slowed down. And that kind of is like, so that was very small but mighty. I hail from the South Jersey area. So Tom and I who is my partner, were involved in a lot of local action and getting involved that way. But as far as FAFO goes, FAFO started online and it maintains that level of commitment. So we can still use online as a form of outreach. And that's how Amanda comes into play. So Amanda she's just met me, honestly, in a live. She shared a mutual space with someone who is actually our Pennsylvania state lead. And one day she was talking, and I was like, you know what? I like the way you talk. Marcia, I feel like you could put that charm to so much more use. What do you think about being a regional?
And I was like, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, we
And
have a
that-
big, yeah.
And the rest
Yeah.
is history, as they say.
Yeah, and like I know, in her bio she mentioned that she is a chronically ill and disabled veteran. And the reason that we bring that up is because my fiance is 100% disabled combat veteran. So one of the things that I think falls on deaf ears or people don't realize is people say, we support our veterans and da-da-da. This administration
No.
isn't showing anything but that. And it's just it's a tagline. It's a punch, right? Like, so
It sounds so nice, doesn't it? Yeah.
It sounds
yeah,
nice, but it's hollow. It has no
Yeah.
meaning. That's
Yeah.
where, a lot of our work with the veteran led comes into place. So while it's not just those two veterans who are involved in this group, we do look to our veterans for a lot of guidance, especially on things that they've seen and had to partake in overseas for the sake of, saving what freedom was at one point in, on this soil.
Mhm.
So I think that we really just want to focus on saying so if you do respect and know what veterans have done, do the honorable thing by doing the right thing. That means being civically engaged. That means, taking care of your communities. That means doing what you need to do, finding your role within your community, essentially. And Amanda has been essential in growing the South. It took off, and I'm so honored to just call her not only a friend, but a part of FAFO.
Well, thanks. I'm honored to be here too. It's been a lot of fun. Before this, I had absolutely zero experience with activism or anything of that nature. I have a big mouth and I have a lot of opinions and I said them on the internet. And this has been an incredible opportunity thanks to Jazz. Like, her and Tom are absolutely the lifeblood of FAFO. Like, period.
Yeah. That's amazing. Honestly, we've had the tagline of supporting our veterans, big air quotes for those of you listening in ear format, not video format. We've had that tagline for so long in this country. And, if you look any deeper at the Veterans Affairs and the VA hospitals and any of these systems that we've set up, all of a sudden it becomes abundantly clear that it's exactly that. It's just a tagline. So it's awesome to see you guys organizing and see it take off, because I also met you online. That was how we came across each other. So for the rest of the year, does FAFO have any major events planned, or is there any way, let's do it right now. Is there any way for people to get involved if they're interested?
So I am doing an online protest for No Kings on October 18th. It is going to be at 7:30 p.m. on the FAFO South page. All that should be linked. I'm technologically deficient, so we'll leave that up to the wonderful
We'll
Amy.
put it all in the show notes. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, I'm hosting an online protest because I've want to remind people who are like me and who might struggle to get outside to go to a physical protest. Jazz is actually going to one of those, and she'll explain that in a second, I'm sure. But I want to, for people like me who it's hard to get outside, you can still make a difference. You can still have your voice heard. You can still spread a message. So that is what the online No Kings protest is all about for me.
And that's why I wanted you to start with that, because I think that's important. One of the biggest things that I have, and actually a friend who helps me out a lot here locally, she is someone who needs accessibility assistance to attend any sort of front-facing or in-person resistance events. So we actively, one of the things that I've learned throughout my time planning events. So I will say that, like, while I've been involved and just existed in the crosshairs of, whatever's happened around me for my entire life, I didn't have like an active role in things, I would say. They were just more so happening to me. So I've decided to take that narrative back. Rather than letting things happen to me, what can I do to make sure that it's not going to continue to happen? And that's what I want everybody else to know. It's not about trying to figure everything out. It's trying to figure out where you fit, because there is a role for everyone. Not everybody needs to be boots on ground. Who's going to watch the little ones and the fur babies? Who's going to make sure that, the elderly and the differently abled who aren't able to attend and need medical assistance are being looked after? Everybody has a place. If the only thing you can do is donate your resources, and your resources are your time, your knowledge, your expertise, it doesn't always have to be financial if you can't do that. I think that people fall short on it. But there's a role for everyone, and there's a way for everybody to give back in some way, shape, or form.
I wholeheartedly
I really
agree.
did want. Yeah, I wanted to double click into that because, especially on the internet, and especially where people have these, like, for lack of a better word, pissing contests about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and everyone has an opinion. I try to remind people that, like, we all can do something, and it doesn't have to look exactly the same. Like, anytime I mention that I personally canceled my Amazon and I haven't stepped into a Target and I've been doing X, Y, and Z, people are like, well, I can't do that. And I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to, right? You need to find something that's very sustainable for you, because this isn't like a one and done situation. We're here for a little bit, and we have to figure out ways to, like, make sure that we keep moving forward for the next, it's a long time, next couple years,
Yeah. As a millennial, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted. Like, I just
Dude,
want to break.
same.
Dude.
I'm so fucking tired. There's massive reports coming out about the United States millennial population that are way too depressing to talk about right now. But basically, everyone is fucking exhausted, and these are people who are not running national organizations like yours on top of everything else that you're also doing. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that, actually, how you guys are balancing life, activism, and just, with a smile on your face, Jazz, that you're just like,
By the seat of our pants and
I'm processing some things, and I didn't know she was going to snitch on me.
by the seat of our pants and the grace of God. Right? That's how we do it.
I'm going to be, so when FAFO first started, obviously after our first event, what people don't realize is sometimes people are only there for the moment. And if that's all they can contribute, then that's fine. No one is obligated. And I would like to say, first and foremost, just on a life perspective, and that's how when I addressed the group of people who were there, they made up a certain demographic that does not represent myself. So I feel like they came with a certain sense of privilege and entitlement. So I started the conversation with two things. One, nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you shit. And two, failing upwards is for white men.
yeah.
You can tell that the group kind of thinned out at that second one, but
Yeah, a little.
But we're not sugarcoating things here. And I think that's important. I don't want this, and I don't think anybody who's in the group can agree. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is keeping this spaces safe and inclusive, because for a lot of the effort, like we said in the bio, it's a lot of groups are out here creating book clubs, and there's nothing wrong with a book club. Let me explain this. I'm talking about people with privilege coming together, saying, wow, that was insightful, and not taking any of the information in the text that they read and applying it to their real lives. So they're not doing anything. They're passively resisting. There are other measures, like they'll still attend their bigoted family members' holiday parties and allow them to speak in a way that is demeaning to others, even though they know it's wrong. Like I understand choosing your battles, but like if you're not changing anything about your life that will benefit the people you claim to care about, all you're doing is being an ally. And we can talk about why I don't like the word ally later if you want, because that's a whole different.
We can dive into that. I love that conversation.
Yeah, it's a hollow word, dude. It doesn't mean anything. So for me, it's like it speaks. It's a noun, right? So like
Right.
we ran a prompt online. Ally is a noun, accomplice is a verb, and we would have conversations around it. And people would be genuinely obtuse and be like, "Well, actually," and I'm like, "That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point, yeah, the point is that ally refers to self, right? So like, if I'm an ally to the LGBTQ community, it means, oh yeah, I support them. It doesn't mean I'm doing anything to help them.
Yeah.
Whereas accomplice as a verb to us means like you're taking action to show that group how you can support. And the best way to support any disenfranchised group is to ask them what they need. Don't tell them. Ask them.
It's so fucking simple. But you touched on a little bit of entitlement earlier, and there is a large swath of our country, and a lot of them look like me. A lot of white women do this, where they're like, "This is what you need," and I'm like, do you like that? For example, the conversation around homelessness and unhoused. I work with I've my entire the only volunteer work I've done my entire life, like since I was a little kid, is working with homeless people. They don't differentiate between homeless and unhoused. They don't care that much. I've asked many of them, and they're like, no, honestly, we would just like the government to provide services to help people when they're in hard times. And I was like, I know. I like that, but it was that conversation where it was like, we're really hurting people's feelings. I'm like, bitch, you've never fucking talked to a homeless person in your life. Don't tell me what they're saying, because they've never said that. And I've asked hundreds of them. They're like, we don't care. We care more about making sure that people are safe and that they're able to do what they want to do and not get fucked with one accident, So yeah, it's a simple thing, but it's not easy to relay.
I relate to this conversation to my fucking soul, dude.
Go on.
Well, the thing about it is what I've noticed in activism, and I'm going to call it out for what it is. It's a sea of white. And a lot of them will talk about marginalized communities like the Black community, the LGBTQ plus community, our homeless community, our veterans, right? But they don't actually meet them where they are and ask them, what the fuck do you need?
Yeah.
And I'm very blunt. I hope me dropping the F-bomb is okay.
They said, we mark this not safe for children. You can cuss as much as you want.
Oh, thank fuck. All right. So,
oh, sweetie, I have several favorite F words, and you know that.
But yeah, no, it's they say that they're for the marginalized. They say they're there to help. But it seems like a very narrow circle of who they're actually helping. And that's why I relate to that so hard, because they make up all these terms and they say all these things like, well, you should say this or do this or do this or do this. But that's great. You're making up terms, but what are you actually fucking doing for them?
It's back to that little, I don't know if you've seen this recently, but there's I think maybe it was E. Jean Carroll. She was like, wear a safety pin to protest Donald Trump. And I was like, No. My brain broke just right now.
Like, that's like the blue bracelets. And the blue bracelets, these are the same white women who will pay money to go harass a private citizen at her book tour.
Insane.
Like she's in the White House. it again last night. She got up and she cussed them out. They got 3 words out and she stood up and she says, "I am a private citizen." And I was like, oh, she's had it.
And she's so composed all the time. Like, it's just like,
oh,
I
knew the way she
can't
stood up, she was
imagine.
about it. I would have.
But like, I can't imagine how it's like over and over. And I ripped a lot of white women to shreds around the blue bracelet thing because I was like, you fucking cunts. I did my job. I voted. If you did your job once every 2 years or every 4 years, you wouldn't have a fucking job. You wouldn't. It's not doing your job. That is like literally the bare minimum. I'm like, you won't even talk about politics at book club because it's too political and you're reading Colleen Hoover's books about domestic violence, but you can't talk about like, come on, Brittany.
So
please.
and then I said something on my personal TikTok where I said, especially surrounding the mass shootings and, people losing their lives to violent rhetoric that is coming in by and large from white men in their like mid-30s to 40s. You don't need to argue with me about that, chat. Argue with statistics. Facts do matter.
Fucking numbers.
So I had put up I think on my personal Twitter, I had said something to the effect of like, when are we going to start holding white women accountable for mass shooters the way that you guys, society deems that only Black women can raise gang members? And, obviously my wording is one thing, but I said what I said and people were being intentionally obtuse. And there was a white man who commented on it and said, statistically speaking, the worst place for a child is in a single Black mother's home. And then I just put up the statistics that said 55% of mass shooters are white men.
I was blocked by that man because he started posting Groyper memes and I called him out for what he said.
Oh my God.
That might have been a different person. There's 2 of them. But yeah, that's the other thing is we're proving our points in real time. So like people will talk about like the male loneliness epidemic. No, it's because we've left a lot of women and femme presenting people have left their male centered view on things. And that has left men whose only objective has ever been to lead, but have no purpose or just be seen or heard because that's literally all they're ever told to do. So like, I feel like all of that combines into what we're seeing in real time. So my thing is none of that would be able to happen if white women would take a role in actively parenting their children. And I even got white women saying, well, what about the men? If they are the head, you are the shoulders. Like,
also just like, just a smidge, a scooch, a tiny bit of personal responsibility. Just ever like a dash. This type of conversation drives me insane with so many white women. And then we've got regular white women. We've got our white women who voted for Kamala. And then we've got like our white leftist online women who like, again, have never apparently left their house and spoken to anyone. But it's kind of that middle group. I mean, truly, seriously, sometimes I'm just like, you need to get off your phone and go speak to another human.
Because what?
Or like,
I don't even
say hi to somebody, anybody.
Right?
Strike up a conversation with anybody, man.
Yeah, I fear we've lost the plot a lot on that side.
Yeah, but I
really agree.
I think we need a media push for collective responsibility for white women in the United States for their parenting choices. Because, it's young white men who are also doing a lot of crimes and getting away with them. Whatever type of crime it is, they're the kids that get the like slap on the wrist because, their future, but like, no. Maybe if we held the parents a little bit more accountable and held the kids accountable, shit would change. But we have to
I firmly, wholeheartedly agree. And I feel like the Brock Turners of the world have mama
not about in a while.
Right.
He's apparently getting bullied everywhere he goes. Like he's afraid to leave his house. It's great. I love every town he moves into. He's just, I can't even grocery shop. You shouldn't be able to, my friend. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't be outside.
Yeah. You just need to stay in your house and have your shit DoorDash to you. But yeah, like white women really do struggle with personal accountability. And when you call them out on shit, even when you do a call in, right? Like,
Right.
you know, then they turn on the waterworks and their fifis get hurt. And then it just goes downhill from there. And you're absolutely right. Accountability from palm colored people that are about as white as an 8x11, as Jasmine has coined so eloquently.
Thanks, color
Really.
redacted for real. That's my favorite one, is color redacted.
But yeah, like we as a whole, and I'm going to mention it, and I'm not going to mention it more than once because it pisses me off. If you are one of those people who say you are a non-practicing white person, I'm going to need you to sit down and shut the fuck up.
I saw someone tweet that and I was like, bitch, what does that mean?
What they're
Um,
trying
like,
to say is I'm white,
I-
but I'm not this kind of white. And they
I know
could've
what
just
they're
said that.
they're trying to say that, but like, I'm a white woman who grew up in North Carolina. Like, I get it. But to me, it's another ego thing.
It's
that comes out
othering
of-
yourself. It's
Yeah.
othering yourself, and it's a
It's
white
again,
tactic.
it's like blue bracelet-y thing again as well, kind of.
Well,
Not quite
well,
the
it's
same,
also
but
I feel that, and it's a white tactic to kind of separate themselves from the bad, and
Yeah.
it's a way of virtue signaling. And stop it.
it's really gross. But it's the conversation around white women and accountability is like, it just runs so fucking deep. So like, I make a lot of history content, and anytime I talk about white supremacy, I get hundreds of comments. Well, like the patriarchy, and I'm like, you don't want to admit your complicity in it, but like being a
So,
white woman,
white supremacy, right? And then all the umbrella-isms are in
Everything else.
is underneath it. So you're complicit by upholding it. So
Yeah.
your man is also at fault. Fully agree, but stop shifting the blame and hold on to your piece of accountability pie and eat that shit, please.
And just eat it and change and like break a general curse or two, which is not fucking easy. It's hard, and you have to like, it's very fucking hard. But
And
sometimes I literally just want to scream like, grow up. I'm like, grow the
yeah, they're very and the reason I say that is because then like they shelter their children, right? And their children don't go into culture shock when they go into their dorm and their roommate is brown or something, and they don't know how to act around them, or they're confused about cultural differences. If you don't expose them to other people at a younger age and explain that there are people who live different lives and have different beliefs, and that's okay. You got to do a little more than just let them leave their life through privilege, because by doing that, I'm assuming the 55% is going to continue to grow. So
I agree. And the thing about it is, when they scream the patriarchy, I don't know where the neuron disconnect is, but we birthed the patriarchy. They wouldn't exist without us. So
again, it's just, but there's a cognitive dissonance, and it's actually pretty fucking impressive of like how it's like, I have nothing to do with raising a mass shooter. I have nothing to do with the patriarchy. You're like, well, baby, they stepped out of your womb. So they did the little duck and they're like, we're here, so
arguably
it would seem. Yeah. I'm enjoying this conversation, and we can keep going in this direction if you would like, or we can shift gears and talk a little bit about what's next for FAFO and or elections or anything like that. But it's kind of up to you guys.
So, I mean, I have plenty, I guess. Speaking about white people in general, we can just
keep it. I'm down. I think we need to keep going.
Like, one of the things that sets FAFO apart, and I really want to kind of highlight this, is because we're not one of those groups that's just being passive, that's sitting there. Yes, things are happening, but we're not doing it in a fashion that should claim anything for us. So when an action happens, or I know something is coming up, I'm not going to be like, hey, this is what we're doing. If it has nothing to do with somebody who looks like me, I'm going to go find some people who are a part of that community and say, I would like to help run something or do something, meaningful on this day in this time. And I would just like your thoughts if you would like to help, make that happen. And that's not something people often do. A lot of the times the larger groups are just a lot of older white individuals who want to stand on a roadside, on the side of the roadway with signs for a couple hours and go home. They aren't doing anything after that. They might do beers for democracy or whatever, drinks for democracy. That's great.
Yeah.
But that's a social hour. What are you
Also, where's the money going?
what are you actively doing to help contribute towards the community? So the groups that I work with, they do, clothing drives. They've done food drives. We ourselves have done a school supply drive, and that was very successful. It was run online, and I'm actually very proud of that. But the issue that I have with all these other groups is that they just tend to kind of be a one note thing, right? They only want, they'll ask for you to come and, join us if they need numbers, regardless of how small you are. And that invitation is supposed to seem as like the holy grail. They won't let you contribute though. And if they do, they're happy to take your labor and just kind of abscond with it, which is real cute. And that's just overall in this field. This isn't just exclusive to white people. Let me be clear. But I do want to say that I've just noticed that a lot of them are not on the same type of time, and that's why FAFO exists to begin with, is because we're not asking for people to be going on a sprint to be deconstructed, because a lot of white people, I think, have this idea that deconstructing has a finish line, and it doesn't.
Yeah. No, it keeps going forever.
Yeah,
you have to consistently, oh my gosh. Oh yeah. It's a lot.
Amanda can tell you, we have a deconstructing corner that we've been working on polishing. And I'm actually going to shout out our Georgia State lead. I believe you might have her on your show coming up soon, the controversial blonde.
I do. Well, I've reached out to her. I've reached out to her campaign manager. So we're getting it. Hopefully she's fucking rad. I didn't realize she was your lead until I was investigating a little bit more, but I've been following her forever. I'm so excited to see her run.
Yes, she is a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse, and knowing that she's actually created some workbooks that she's been trying to do on top of all of the other things she's doing that help with deconstructing just racism and other white supremacist ideologies that kind of flow within that. And I'm just honored again. Just an amazing human being, and she is capable of anything she puts her mind to. So I'm honored to not only have her here as FAFO, she's a wonderful human being, a friend, and I look forward to when she's going to have some time to talk to you about all the things she's got going on. She really is the real deal, and I'm excited, and I really do hope that she gets to, give the Congressional District 12 in Georgia everything they need.
Me too.
When she made the announcement, I was like, I saw it. I'm chronically online. I saw it very early, and I was just like, this is it. I was like, these are the type of people I want running for office. It has been so enjoyable to interview this next class of progressive people, because it's so diverse. There are so many women. There are so many veterans. There are many people of color. There are Black women. There are LGBTQ plus people. I'm like, let's knock out some of the Johns. That's what America looks like, dude. I'm just like, I'm happy. I'm pumped.
And
I'm sorry, I cut you off because I got so excited.
Go ahead. Sorry, I keep reading this way.
I'm going to put positive vibes out there. When Bree wins, and
we're manifesting,
absolutely crushes the lady who made South Korea mad at us into the proverbial political
crisis.
That is going to be a fantastic day. And Bree is fucking amazing, and I can't speak on her enough.
That's awesome. Jazz, you said you're New Jersey based.
Yes.
We got some big New Jersey elections happening. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know I know you're chronically online, so I don't know if you see me ranting. And I think like by the time it hits, like if you see me during our resistance report, our morning show, it's a little different. But if you see like a video, it's a little more polished. So, hey guys, New Jersey is at risk of becoming Alabama 2.0. Our choices for governor are Mikey Sherrill, who is a Navy veteran and a former prosecutor and an active congresswoman. So she's been around the block, right? She's done a few things, got some experiences, and has a plan for the issues like, I don't know, the way we're getting outpriced in literally everything, especially electric and natural gas. All that shit is real expensive. Our Republican option is Jack Ciattarelli, who is Trump's he's endorsing him. He basically said that he wants to put a 10% tax across the boards, but specifically more so on food and clothing. I don't know about anybody else, but food is already expensive where we are. I don't think anybody can afford another 10% of anything. He wants to have a New Jersey Doge system here. He is supporting things that would be in alignment with all the talking points and things that we're seeing that are tearing apart communities in Chicago and Portland and, Illinois, like overall. So like, it's very frustrating because where I am in South Jersey, I don't know if anybody knows this, but the saying in South Jersey is half of us think we live in Philly and the other half think they live below the Mason-Dixon line. Those people are touting for the Republican nominee. And it's like and I just want to be clear, this man was an assemblyman many moons ago. And if you dig hard enough, you can find a montage of Obama like roasting him for being just a bad assemblyman. But basically, he has voted to not protect children from sexual predators. He's on record for voting for not giving New Jersey relief from Hurricane Sandy. He will continue to vote against people having access to health care that includes abortion and veterans. VA access here in New Jersey is already an issue. Like Tom, my fiance, and I have to actually go to Philly for him to get a care. And we had our first event, I think, in South Jersey. We had a VA rally, the Northfield office. It's a clinic. That office has since been closed and we had no notice. Like I just happened to go online and see a for sale sign. And when you drive by, it's certainly not open.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So there's a shrinking level of access to care for veterans, which is actually a very real threat. And I probably buried the lead. So Jackson really won't share his taxes. He hasn't worked in a while, right? So we call him unemployed.
Yeah.
Couple of things. He takes trips to go see Benjamin Netanyahu. 1. 2, his largest backer is the pharmaceutical company that was in the middle of the opiate crisis.
The Sacklers. Yes, I saw that clip. That's the clip from the debate that I saw where Mikey Sherrill was like, "You've killed hundreds of thousands of people. Like the group with you has facilitated deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans." And shit, I didn't know that.
So once I saw that, I was like, and I had a really I'm a weirdo, who will be up in the middle of the night and see a TikTok and be like, that's interesting. And then go down a rabbit hole. So for some reason, I had ended up in a rabbit hole because I was looking for a new position because I moved to South Jersey. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York. Right. Okay. So I moved down here to be with my fiance. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And so I was looking for a physician. And for some reason, when I was looking for physicians in the town I'm in, I kept popping up this article about some physician that was here and was getting arrested with this chronic pain patient who also lived in Florida. It was a whole thing, but it was about opiate. And I was like, I remember that time everything was super big. And then seeing that was his biggest donor, all the flags went off. And I said, I knew how to doing and all that, why he was able to do some of this. And it's like, it's this dude. It's this dude.
Right.
This man offers quite literally nothing to New Jersey other than chaos. And the fact that he literally, we have some of the best schools in the country. He's on record saying he wants to mirror Louisiana and Mississippi.
Yeah, but those are what is that, 48 and 49 in education? Like because Oklahoma's 50th technically. That's insane.
I live in Alabama. I live in Alabama next door, and we're like 46.
Yeah, you guys are up there in like that's. He's openly said that.
Yeah.
Like
he just says things to say things. I mean, he's a white man. You know? He was. I'll tell you. Even recently, he was asked. A reporter was saying, "How important are the black and brown voters to your campaign win?" And he said, "What?" And then she repeated herself, and he said, "Next question." Yeah. So,
like there's another aspect to this. It's like these reporters have been driving me a little bit crazy. Like he's not in a court of law. He doesn't get to plead the fifth. Keep asking him the question until he fucking answers the question. Like, don't move on.
He has literally said he's on board for keeping schools segregated here. And by segregated, I mean, like, obviously, communities that have denser populations of black and brown people obviously are underserved and need some assistance. He wasn't looking to change any of that. He also said on affordable housing, if you can't afford where you live, go somewhere where you can afford it, aka
leave.
I don't care. Leave. Get out of places where I don't want to see you. He's uncomfortable with anybody who doesn't look like him. He will only attend events that are in red areas because he knows better. I think the most dangerous thing about him, though, is the fact that on his campaign is Scott Pressler. And I don't know if you've ever spoken about him, but Scott Pressler is somebody who helped turn Pennsylvania red for the presidential campaign. He takes credit for taking red pill 18-year-old white men and the rural white population, getting them to vote for what's in office. So, like, I find that to be an issue.
What's in office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and he's actually pushing for, the irony is he's pushing for Republicans to do mail-in voting.
Interesting. See, okay, so every now and again, something comes up that like really raises some flags, and I like, obviously this week for me right now, it's actually like this Qatari base in Idaho. Maybe as veterans,
I would say,
who
would, I keep doing this. You know who would know?
So actually, fun fact about that, Pete Hegseth worded that horribly wrong. They are not building a military base.
It's not a base, right? It's just a place for their F-15s.
It's not even that. Like, they're training soldiers there. So here's the deal. If they were to actually build a base, that would have to get congressional approval. One.
Right.
And that would have to be approved in the budget, and that would have to be a whole thing, right? That wouldn't just be a president said so and it magically appears. What they're doing, I can't exactly say if they're giving F-15s or not, so let me kind of retract back a little bit. I don't know. But what I do know is they are training Qatari forces on a base in Idaho. Pete Hegseth was a major in the military, and he has shown many times that he doesn't communicate very well. I will say that as nice as possible. This man signal text messages. Like,
first of all, they were using emojis. Like, what the?
As an intel, I was intel in the military, right? And the amount of shit that I had to go through just to get to work. Like, I had to go through like 3 sets of doors.
Right.
One of them was like at least 3 inches thick. Like, it's a big fucking deal. And to leak out messages like that from that level. What?
My coworkers asked if I knew what Signal was, and I was like, well, I am in my 30s and I'm a single woman in New York. That's the app that all the men who are married use to cheat on their wives. That's how I know it. And that's when that all came out, and I was like, and this man's in charge. Great.
Yeah, and this is why I think so I don't know if you've talked to anybody or veterans about, like, obviously they had the meeting at Quantico where they made all the leaders come in, which it certainly could have been a Zoom call, because I'm telling you, per text messages that were sent to other veterans.
Just a national security threat that was. So like you
First
have
and foremost,
one
do
big,
that.
like, that's it.
yeah.
was them flexing whatever, muscle they wanted to, but it's the fact that they all sat there silently, like,
The looks on their faces.
and then
were,
when they got up, they were like, all right, we're getting out. They all came with their Jags, and, I'm not familiar with that term because I would say I'm
Military
new.
lawyer.
Yes, I was going to say military lawyer. I know that now, but like, I didn't know the actual, like, acronym.
right.
When someone said it to me, I was like, they're what? And I was like, you mean their legal representation? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's all I
Say that.
I was like, so yeah. So knowing that they came prepared is awesome. It also lets people know that while there are people in leadership touting these ideologies, there are still other people there holding up some standards that we should be, be happy that they're doing so. However, I will never not tell someone to remind the National Guard, whomever, to remember their oath. I think we can always say that. And it's always going to have to be reminded because, as you know, this administration is playing a lot of psychological warfare mind games, and people are falling for it. Like,
I mean, hook, line, and sinker.
I was in a nail salon probably 2.5 weeks ago, if that. And it was like a pro-Israeli ad playing, like, out of nowhere. I have never seen that shit. I was like, and I was the only one else.
Is anyone else alarmed?
I literally pulled my nails away from my nail lady and was like, "You're on YouTube, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And it was just on YouTube.
Oh, it just came through. Oh,
it cycled through, and then and she was like watching the news through YouTube. It was weird, like so. It went back to the news, but I've never seen anything like that in my life. I was like, oh my gosh, which is why AIPAC has got to go. And so does every other special private interest lobbyist, because this is why we can't get anything done as American citizens. Our representatives are not in the pockets of their constituents and in the pockets of these private interest groups. And that's why it's so fucking hard to literally exist. They would rather get their dollars from AIPAC. And I'll be honest, I have a senator who was taking AIPAC money, and he hid his big old Q dome in that picture. Talking to you, Cory Booker. Yeah, not proud of that. And I think a lot of people need to be aware of that. Like, so as much as we're talking about this administration and the Republicans, there are still people on the other side of the aisle that aren't doing much of anything, or if they are doing it, it's falling on deaf ears because they're still taking money and complicit in this. And that's why we as a whole are encouraging people to do their research, follow money, look at the facts, and there are plenty of places to start if you're not sure. I mean, first of all, if you're spending enough time that you're online, you have a supercomputer in your hand. Use it.
It's also like, we've all become averse to asking the next like 2 questions, right? Like, if I noticed it a lot around around the presidential election, but like, Cory Booker, like, why did he make this decision? And you look at where his money comes from, and you're like, oh, that's why. Like, it's not going to take you all morning. You look in Open Secrets, you search Cory Booker fundraising, and it's going to show up. But like, so many people, and we're so accustomed to trusting our media sources, which I don't want to say to not trust media sources, but I want you to be skeptical.
It's becoming increasingly hard. Do you want to talk about Stephen Miller? But before I get to that, I just wanted to say for Cory Booker, like when he did the filibuster and everybody was like, yeah, and then actively voted to allow weapons to go to that same country, right?
The next day or something.
Yeah. And then that's when people were like, well, what the fuck? And I was like, go look at who gives him campaign money. But
he also just got engaged, and immediately I was like, oh, he's fucking running. He's running. He has been looking for a woman to run for president with him for so goddamn long. I thought it was going to be...
it was Rosario, right? It was that.
I really thought it was going to be Rosario Dawson there for a minute. I was like, Madam First Lady Rosario. Okay.
Interesting. I also know that, like, before we go to the next topic, I know that, like, Jeff Andrew, he's down here in South Jersey representing CD2. He's a horrible human being. He actually ran as a Democrat and then became a Republican. He took funding. His largest donor was from out of state, a group of Virginia that worked for Trump for the first administration. So they were anti-Trump. And then he went, took their money, got elected, and then became a Republican.
That happened in North Carolina very recently as well, and gave Republicans a super majority in the state legislature. I was like, what the fuck? Anyways, let's talk about media. Amanda, you were jumping in with media conversation.
The thing with media is Fox News is like satire at this point. And when it comes to news medias, we see it, ABC, all of these other Paramount, they're sued if they don't capitulate. So it is really hard to trust media sources now because they have to bend the knee. And that's why it's always good to double check your facts. One fact that I have double checked, which, by the way, for anybody watching, left wing, right wing, it's the same damn bird. And with that being said, a direct quote from the person running for Alabama governor, Tommy Tuberville. When he was asked what the three branches of government were, he said the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. That's a direct quote. I am not exaggerating. That is not hyperbole.
He's running for governor, but isn't he a sitting senator still? Or was he? Was he just one? Okay.
No, he's still a sitting senator. So, yeah, he is running against Will Boyd, Dr. Will Boyd. Let me say his name right, speak that correctly. I absolutely love Dr. Will Boyd. He is fantastic. He is a pastor, but he does not believe on imposing religion on anybody, which I love that. And he can name the three branches of government correctly. So, win. Yeah. That's a win. That's a win for me. Another race I'm super excited about on that front is Mark Wheeler. He's running for U.S. Senate. The thing I love about him, I don't agree with him on all of his policies. I really don't. But he's honest. And he tells it straight. And I can stand behind a candidate who can at least be honest, look you in the eyes and go, this is my opinion, right? And be willing to change it when you give him facts or her facts or them facts to change it. So, that's my tidbit. And about media, just double check your shit. And media literacy is so important. Please stop using ChatGPT. It is not your friend. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Media today has expressly shown so many issues, but it's consistently gotten softer and softer. And of course, that's because people are getting fired and they're losing their jobs if they're saying certain things about the administration or just generally. And it's watching like independent news journalists and all these new sources start to pop up and people are like, oh, this person's the best person. It's the best source in the world. And I'm like, you just follow them because they have millions of followers and you don't know if they're the best source in the world. I need you to think about that for a minute because they're making money off of clicks and views and the way they say things are being said on purpose. People ask me all the time, they're like, who do you follow for news on Instagram or on TikTok? I'm like, not really anybody because the incentives are not aligning there on how to get information across. We're coming up on time here, but I do have one more question. In terms of what you think, other veterans can be doing right now and people who love veterans, aside from joining FAFO and working with you guys, what are some other things that you think they could be doing, maybe locally or at the state level even?
I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not a veteran. I am engaged to one, and
you love veterans. You love a veteran.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I love my veterans.
I feel like you have a right to speak, Jazz, and I'm gonna say why. Because dependents and on our wives, right?
Yeah.
Because today is a very special day, and so we're gonna call it what it is: a wife. Wives are super important. They're the backbone of veterans. They take care of things when veterans are gone. I was a stateside vet, but Tom was a combat vet. And Tom can tell you, a good wife behind a good veteran, it's the bread and butter of the military. It really is. And wives, good wives anyway, not the ones that say that their husbands rank, we hate dependents, right? But the good wives, the wives like Jazz, we couldn't do what we do without them. So Jazz, your opinion is important. Go ahead and say it. If you have anything to say, you're not over speaking anybody.
Thank you. You know me. I will say that, like, if you're going to do something, start with go to your local VA. The VA is under siege, y'all. They fired so many of their staff, many of them being veterans themselves. We do a lot of work with federal workers, so they're also furloughed because of the shutdown. So, like, there are resources that are available that people may not be aware of because these people are also under pressure, overworked, and under-resourced. So that's what we talk about community defense for. So, like, we're going to try to fill those gaps. So whether it's dropping off clothing to the VA and saying, look, I don't know if there's a veterans haven nearby, but I have some clothing I would like to donate for any unhoused or veterans facing a hard time. Start there. Go there and see what they need. There's somebody there who would be happy to help you. I promise you. They would almost relieved at this point. If you know a veterans haven, you can go there as well. I know it's a little bit different with VFWs, depending on where you live, but it's also a good shot. Even just going to local churches. So, like, there's a lot of churches that lead mutual aid programs. The one in my town is non-denominational, and they do a ton of work with veterans. So I knew that Tom personally has experience with them. They'll reach out to your interfaith leaders. I guarantee you they know people who know some people, and you'll be surprised how well those networks are there. That's how they get recognition. So truthfully, other than just being there, like genuinely being there for veterans, not just saying, I support you, thank you for your service. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I know Tom doesn't like hearing that. Not mostly from people he genuinely knows don't actually support that, because look at what's in office, right? So he's like, it's tone deaf. Yeah. So be an accomplice to a veteran by doing something that would benefit a veteran or two. That's my take on it. Amanda?
I firmly agree. And for what I'm going to say, it's a little simpler than even that. 22 a day. And that number is skyrocketing. Check on the vets in your life. Because while some of them may agree, and that is their constitutional right, I don't wish harm on nobody. I don't do none of that because, Antifa. Right? But it hurts my heart so bad because there are a lot of vets out there who are struggling because they see the country that they fought for falling the fuck apart. Please check on the vets in your life. Check on the vets in your area, because we fought for this country. We fought to protect that Constitution, and it is getting trampled on. I can name 10 of the amendments that have been absolutely decimated. I mean, Donald Trump said that he took the First Amendment away. He said that in black and white. Took the freedom of speech, is what he said directly. And some of us are faring better than others. But for those of us who are really struggling, sit with them. Just be present with them, right? And if they need somebody to talk to, and listening ear, listen twice as much as you talk. That's what I've got.
I feel like that's a pretty good place to begin to wrap up. If you guys want to share where people can follow you, I will also put it in the show notes, and I will put some of the links to your past events in the show notes as well, so people can watch the YouTube streams and things like that.
Yeah. So I just want to say, like, myself, on behalf of Fight Against Fascism Organization, I just want to leave you guys with this. Our commitment to deconstruct systems of oppression, to center and uplift voices for those who often feel pushed aside, and to empower everyday people to defend their communities. So if that feels like something you'd like to be a part of, FAFO's more than just an organization. It's a movement. It's veteran-led. It's people-powered. And if you believe in building a future rooted in justice and collective strength, you can find us at fightaagainstfascism.org. You can also do FAFO_official on TikTok. and it's Fight Against Fascism ORG on Instagram. We also have Blue Sky and other things, but if you go to the TikTok, you can hit the link tree and it should lead you to anything else. And then we have a Discord as well. So for anybody who's really trying to get involved, that would be my ultimate direction, to say, go to the website and then go to the Discord.
FAFO South for me. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. This has been really awesome. And I really am grateful that you took your time on your Saturday morning to speak with me. And I'm just happy to have you guys here.
We're grateful that you had us.
Oh, honored even. And I'm just so thankful for your time and everything that you're doing. I am surely looking forward to having this episode out. I didn't tell my fiance, so it's a surprise.
Okay. Oh, surprise. Yay. Amazing.